Fish and Chums!
Hi everybody, Gary Heydrich here for this week's Fish and Chums Fishing Report, along with my old fishing buddy Tuffy. We've got a pretty good report for you. Here we are in late November. I'm taping the show on Wednesday, November 29th. That's unbelievable. End of November already. Well, we've got pretty good reports. Going to be talking about Stockton, Truman, going over to Lake the Ozarks, Bull Shoals, Taneycomo, and Table Rock. So we better get going, Tuffy. We have a lot to talk about. Okay, Stockton, the good reports I've been having out there continues, just like the last couple of weeks I've been talking about it. You old boys out there know where those sunken brush piles are. You're catching fish. I know you are. And anywhere from about 16, 17 to near 25 feet of water, those sunken brush piles on top of it or on the side of them, fishing jigs or minnows, or a combination of both. Nice crappie being caught out at Stockton. Okay, out at Truman Lake. My gosh, that's a good lake, and they're still catching good fish out there. I've been talking about it the last several weeks here on the program, and they're still getting limits. Some days are slow, but that's fishing. Other days the boys are going out and really catching some pretty good numbers of fish. In fact, several limits caught out there this last week. I had a buddy up the Palmy Arm the other day, picked up a nice limit of fish, but the majority of my reports are coming at that lower one-third of the lake. And they're in a winter pattern, it seems like. They're catching crappie anywhere on the bluffs from, I'd say, 15 to near 25 feet of water. They've been swimming plastic minnows, just your plastic minnows on a jig head, maybe a 1/16 ounce, and also jigging vertically, and also they're using minnows as well. And in fact, here's a picture of Bates Bob. He's a guide on Truman Lake, good guide. I think he kind of worked with Steve Blake, who is a wonderful guide out there, been out there for years. I fished with Steve before, great fisherman. But somebody was fishing with Bob the other day, and look at this, picked up an 11-pound walleye crappie fishing at Truman. And they say there's more walleye showing up this last week, so you may want to check this out. And some nice crappie are being caught. Like I said, out of Sturt Creek, I believe Bob and Steve Blade have a guide service, and Steve's been there for years. An excellent, excellent guide. Here's a shot of those guys that went out the other day on their day off. This is what they do on their day off. They went out and caught this mess of nice crappie. So crappie fishing at Truman continues to be good. And by the way, we're still getting good reports of some white bass and hybrids being caught on the windy points. You may want to check this out. And they're still catching some big, big catfish out there on cut shad as well. Over at Lake the Ozarks, some pretty good fishing taking place out there. Broken record. My golly, guys, I've been talking about this for the last several weeks. But guys, I had some friends out the other day. They made a special trip from Branson just to go crappie fishing at Lake the Ozarks, and they caught really a mess of big crappie. And they were fishing the condo docks and some of the isolated docks with brush, and really caught some nice crappie. And they're still catching crappie at Lake the Ozarks on the banks. Just off the banks, get your boat out there and pitch out that jig or a jig and minnow, and let it slide down 4, 6, 8 feet of water around some brush. You're going to catch crappie, and some nice sized crappie too. Bass fishing's picked up at Lake the Ozarks. They've been picking up some fish in the evening hours on Pop-R, a little topwater action taking place out there, and some football jigs, and they've been picking up some fish on some plastics out there as well. So Lake the Ozarks looks good this upcoming weekend. I think it's going to be a good weekend, that's for sure. Out at Bull Shoals Lake, mid-lake area, they're still picking up some nice fish at Bull Shoals. Bass fishing in the evening hours seems to be better in the morning hours. And as I mentioned on last week's program, topwater action, not bad out there. They've been using spooks and also some Pop-Rs. And so check this out in the evening hours near the banks. And during the midday hours, they've been going out on the long shoals, the long points, and using some drop shot. And your drop shot worms have been paying off, especially in the plum colored. So check this out. Back in the creeks, the deep creek arms, I'm telling you, they're picking up some fish on square-billed crankbaits. On windy days, they're picking up some fish on spinnerbaits. And by the way, they're picking up some jig and pigfish off some of the bluffs out at Bull Shoals as well. You may want to check this out. A few crappie, I understand, being caught out on the deep water brush piles. Okay, let's go to Lake Taneycomo. Lake Taneycomo is producing some pretty good trout fishing out there this week. They've been running water. In fact, just a few minutes ago before we taped this show, I called the Corps and got the water release, and they had 2 units on. This always makes better fishing. And so they have been running some water out there, and so trout fishing may be good the next couple of days. And they've been picking up fish anywhere. Well, here's a shot of the Twin Bridges right there just outside of Scotty's. Had a buddy pulled up there the other day, started pitching out some jigs, didn't do any good. He went to a white jig, 16th ounce, and picked up a limit in a hurry. So you may want to try white jigs, little trout jigs, and they have been picking up some fish on night crawlers. And by the way, had a buddy down recently, just the other day, a couple of days ago, down, you know where the old gold mine is? Yeah, it's down there past the landing, that big bend, and they've been picking up fish from the gold mine clear near Rockaway Beach. And they've been using that pink worm, that 4-inch Berkeley trout worm, and they've been picking up some fish on night crawlers down there. Corn, yeah, I haven't used corn in a long time. And they've been picking up some fish by slow rolling jigs too. You may want to try this area. Had some pretty good reports in the Monkey Island area as well. Let's go over to Table Rock Lake. That water temperatures kind of come back up a little bit. This morning it was 57 degrees out there. And so it's not dropping like we like this time of the year. They're still picking up fish on drop shots out on the big runs. You have to look, kind of go to one big gravel run and get out there anywhere from 30, 35, 45 feet of water. And your favorite drop shot worm seems like plum, kind of a blue colored drop shot worm's been paying off. So check this out. And there's been some pretty good fish being caught on. Occasionally you can throw out a football style jig. I like the brown in color. And they have been picking up some fish also up the James River, square-billed crankbaits. Windy days, a few bass can be caught on spinner baits, especially if there's wind, and jigs. Some good jig fishing up the James River arm. Well, that's about it for the day. I want to thank you very much. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend, and next week early it's going to be nice. I understand on Tuesday, front's coming in, the temperature's going to drop a little bit. But other than that, we got a super upcoming weekend weather-wise. Well, Tuffy and I want to thank you for being with us today on the big show. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like and share. Be sure to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, just push that button. It's absolutely free. You won't miss out on anything. And if you have any questions, be sure to just contact us with our email address at fishingchums@gmail.com. That's it for the day, Tuffy. I'm tired of talking about fishing. Let's go do some fishing. Yeah. Happy outdoors, everyone. Hope to see you out on the water this weekend.